Nothing really new to report. The theft from autos are still kind of maintaining their level. It seems like the only folks that know not to leave their expensive stuff in plain view in their car are you guys. Everyone else that comes, you know, it kind of happens. So remind your friends and stuff, don't leave their expensive things or personal belongings in their cars when they park. The increase in crime has been outside of the area that you guys kind of are in, and that's more of the robberies that are occurring north of Rhode Island Avenue, north of Rhode Island Avenue, and things of that nature. But there's nothing really significant to report. We haven't gotten an increased report of the poopers or the peers.
Me neither.
Yeah, so-
I live in this part, and
Yeah.
I actually have seen on multiple occasions when I go into the alley, people, you guys, in either cars or stuff, so I'm happy to hear that there's.
Yeah, there was an increase in manpower. Well, the way we spread out the manpower within this area, which is an officer on the Segway. He recently just wrecked a Segway, so he's down.
Is he okay?
He'll be okay. He injured his thumb, so he'll be back in a few weeks. Officers on mountain bikes during the day, into the evening hours, an officer on foot, and police cars. So that's about it. And I'm glad you're seeing the results of that. What's your question?
I mean, last night was probably an exception because it was the 4th of July, but I do know that there's been a large increase in fireworks. I believe they are illegal in DC, am I correct?
There's a
Can you
list.
clarify what?
Yeah, there's a list of what's prohibited, and I don't recall because it's very specific. So it's a pretty comprehensive list. We've confiscated over 100 pieces of. Thank you, Lieutenant. We've confiscated over 100 pieces of illegal fireworks, and you know it's just the way it is. It's been like that since at least I've been around. Which is as we approach the 4th, the stands go up, and we do the enforcement. Still, some stuff gets sold. It shouldn't be. We got guys that roam and look for that stuff. We confiscate, but they're still going to set some of it off, and then after the 4th, for a period of time, we're going to get the remnants of what they hadn't set off on the 4th. So.
And extension to the theft from auto, I live across the street from Dunbar High School, and you can tell the next morning when something's broken into the
Broken glass.
Yes, and my car has been one of them before, and there's a camera right there, and as well at the,
When you say right there, which location are you referring to?
if you're looking at Dunbar,
You're referring to the camera on the sidewalk.
there's one on Dunbar and one at the basketball court that Kirby and
Mhm.
I don't know if people are checking that, because we had a problem that no one ever looked at it when ours was broken into, so I think,
Sure.
I don't know
So
what the
things-
vicinity of the camera gets, but does not seem like that's been checked.
Yeah, so things occur, and when they are captured on video, an officer, when they take the report, will look for cameras, and if they see a camera, they will notate it in the report. The report lands on a detective's desk. They go out, canvass, try and pull video footage, and if there's someone, or if the video captures a suspect, then they'll disseminate that to the public and ask if someone, you know, we'll do it through YouTube or other means to see if someone from the neighborhood thinks they know who that person is or can identify that person. If so, then we'll see if we can make a closure on that case.
And how-
Theft from autos is kind of hard to close those out.
And I mean, I walk to work and I see broken glass from here to DuPont Circle.
Right.
So how is it, what type of process is in place to determine when, I imagine that they're not looking at every single theft from auto, because it's just, you don't have the manpower to do that. What makes the case, does someone have to advocate for it? How is it, like, what's happening when the ones are getting looked at and some of them aren't? What's that
Well,
process?
when someone reports a theft from a vehicle, an officer goes there and finds a camera, they notate that in the report. The detective will try and pull video footage. If they can get the footage, great, we'll disseminate it. If we can't get the footage, then the case really can't go anywhere unless somebody else sees something. You know, unless we get more information, new information, the case really can't go anywhere. Unless you get fingerprints or things like that. And it's a pain. I was a detective before I was a sergeant, and theft from autos are really hard to close out. But sometimes we get lucky.
But I like this conversation because I'm gonna give you something to take back to you. This is what I just did with my PSA, right? I had a list of all the businesses, all that have cameras, the whole bit, right? Who's in black and white, who's in color. Because when that person comes in there and do what they do and it don't work, right, it's not gonna help them. So part of that is reviewing footage for theft from autos that may have occurred where there are cameras. And this way now I know where they are at. So the key is to ensure that one, the cameras on your beat, that they work and they're operable, right? And then, when you say they broke into my car this day, they may have a list that they do the same thing you're doing, right? And tell them exactly where those cameras are, and we'll look at it. The key is to catch it, because my PSA, I'm telling you right now, 42% reduction in violent crime, and guess what? Theft from autos is just killing us.
Is there a way we can implement that in our sections?
Well, if there's a video camera on someone's
Or
property.
notifying us, just putting them in the mailboxes of where the video cameras are, so that if someone has a crime, you can then report it, since you know there's a camera here.
Our detectives, our detectives they have their own compilation. And I know what you're referring to, 5D has that, has a list that where, it's something that they have to update monthly because somebody may have a camera today and may not tomorrow, or may not today and one tomorrow. So we do have that list. But, the image or the footage that we get usually is the Sasquatch image, the grainy guy that's, it's hard to do something like that. We still disseminate it though, we won't sit on that, we'll still put it out there, and sometimes we get lucky with that.
So I'll add on, is that I have not received any videos of poopers or peers for the first time in a long time, which is good.
I'm relieved.
I am so,
The cougars probably aren't.
and I haven't seen any campers on the parcel of land on New York Avenue, which is a good thing. Well, that usually turns into Camp Kirby when it's warm.
Yeah.
Have you seen it? I haven't.
No,
Okay.
no, but I'm keeping an eye out for that, so
Okay.
we see it, we're interested.
Okay, very good. All right, great, that's awesome, thank you.
Okey-dokey.
Sir,
Yeah, sure.
sorry, got one question. There's a new stoplight camera, I
Okay,
believe,
so-
on M Street.
Catherine, that's the wrong area.
Oh, wrong area?
Yep, he's 5D. He's across New Jersey.
Sorry.
3D, right? Yeah, so 3D. And he probably will know about that. And I'll talk about that.
Thank you so much for showing up and speaking with us. Sir, Mr. 3D,
Good evening, how are you?
we're good.
I want to start off by saying, a lot of events are coming up. One, National Night Out. Here's a flyer. It might not be for everybody. Right? August the, is that second?
What was that, Ethan?
These are Beat the Street dates. CAC, this is important too, right? July 28th at 3D, 1620 B Street at 7 o'clock, CAC meeting. All right, I think I have a few of these flyers. That's the 12th, the 28th, that's at the end of the month. So you can get some people to get that or put it in your phone. Also, there's a back to school block party, August 27th, and in Old Street. The church is putting this on, the Miles Memorial Church. That's right over here. Okay. Right off the 5th, that's going to be August 27th. 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. Get some flyers for that.
This is like backpacks and stuff like that.
You got all those flyers, all those flyers.
I'm just saying.
When you go to your car today, if you have one of these, I do everybody, because I'll be late for the meeting. I put some of these on some people's cars outside. They have stuff left in them. All right?
I got it.
Here's some robbing flies to pass out, because this is the thing that's gonna keep you safe if you read that stuff, right? We had somebody got robbed, on the, I wanna say the 18th or the 19th, off of, 5th Street, and we had somebody on 6th Street. They had an Uber that they came in, and the people obviously was watching them. And then probably, it's 2 Sunday morning, so they probably did a little drinking. But you gotta pay attention when you get out your car. Can't just pull up, get out the car and walk. You gotta, look, this is what you do. This is what I do, I'm a police officer, all right? When I go home, I'm already looking before I even get to my door. See what's around with unusual vehicles and all the rest of that stuff, right? And then, right, when you park, sit there for a second and just look around. Right? Sit there for a second, just look around. Then, get out your car. Now, if somebody's inside and it's late, really 2 and 3 in the morning, you're not gonna call and tell them, can you meet me at the door? Right? It's not gonna get you paranoid, it's to keep you safe. That's about it. I do it, I'm a police officer, trust me. You don't know who following you home. Right? Violent crime in our PSA is down about 42% when you look at 30-day comparisons. This year versus last year. But those theft from autos are up like 60-some%. Trust me, you probably see me out there because this is my mission. I walk and I'll put those on the cars and the officers do the same thing, right? And the key is out of sight, out of mind. If you do that, you will have to pay $500 deductible for your car to be repaired, right? So just keep those things out of sight, out of mind. What else? I was telling you about the cameras. I just had one of my officers just go walk the beat where all the cameras are at. Talk to the owners, get their contact information, all the rest of that. Make sure the cameras are working. Make sure you can recommend, you might want to get a color camera versus a black and white camera. Because that's going to be very important when it comes to somebody testifying saying that's him or that's her, right? So these are the times that we have now where we can get people to understand that that's important. Make sure it's working. Don't wait until it happens. You know, say, oh, it wasn't working. So those are some things that I'm doing now. Plus, if you got a theft model in the 1500 block of such and such street, guess what? Some business might be across the street. Go on the camera, right? So I'm gonna be short with the stick because y'all trying to roll the body here, right? But basically, that's all I have. Everybody have anything? I'm from New Orleans. We talk.
So Patrick, in the audience, one of my constituents, he won't know, so I don't think. So brought up, there is a stop sign camera coming to the corner of 4th and M Street Northwest. This is right there by, as you enter into 395. This has been a very long process. It has been over a year for them to bring that to the corner. And so the gentleman from MPD came out, he made the observations clearly. Only about 20% of the cars actually stopped. Most of them just rolled right on through. So,
Rolled through straight, or it was a right on red?
it's a right, it's a right on the,
Get out
and
of that
stop.
tunnel.
It's a stop.
Yeah, it's a stop sign and stop.
Oh, man.
So what will happen is there's actually a camera on the street right now that people are seeing. It is not positioned correctly, clearly, right? So it'll be moved, and eventually it'll be mounted on one of the street lights. What the trigger will be when people do not cross that white line. You must stop at that white line, otherwise you will get a ticket. There will be about probably 60 days of warning tickets or warning citations, I think they call them. And then after that point, there will be tickets issued.
Do we know when that's going to go into effect?
No, we haven't, because the camera.
Because we have to warn
There will be
our
press,
constituents.
correct, there will be press releases, I will announce it. But this has been publicly talked about for over a year on my Facebook page, and so now it's finally happened, so, yeah, eventually.
Okay, so you'll make sure all the rest of us get it, so we
Oh,
can tell
yes,
everybody else.
absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely.
'cause, I mean, I know nobody stops, but I just
Well, they
assume
should
it's
stop.
right on red, so.
They should.
But they still should stop, why aren't they
It's
stopping?
not a light, it's a stop
It's a stop
sign.
sign.
Right on red is just a stop.
Yeah, it's a stop sign.
It's not a
People aren't
red light.
stopping, so that's it.
Right on red, you're
Gotcha.
supposed to stop.
So, and then the other two cameras that are in a major pause are the camera that would be for a one-way street. There apparently isn't a law in place that handles cars, it's only for trucks. And the box camera that was talked about for any New Jersey is on a major pause because the technology is not there yet. So there it is. So one of three. That's good.
Who has a bicycle that's worth like $600-800 in here? Anybody? Bicycle?
I don't know.
Five
I'm trying to sell it.
Let me just say this. They've been stealing a lot of bicycles lately, so lock your shades. Lock your shades. Don't take it for granted, because I can't wait to get them. Matter of fact, I was out here Saturday, and this guy had learned to go up these people's, the next door stairs and everything, come around, jump in the backyard, take the bike, throw it over the fence. And throw it over the fence and then jump on the fence and go up on it. So just keep that in mind. Those definitely bicycles might seem minor, but all that adds up. If you look at the climb 30 days, be good.
Tommy Wallace, our former council member, got a $1,500 bike stolen from downtown here.
Yeah, there's a lot of, in my area, there's a lot of very, very expensive,
I seen one when they got through the bike over the pole.
See?
He jumped.
I had one bike stolen a couple of years ago. They actually used the trash cans to create a level to climb over your fence. So I moved all of my trash cans away from the back of my fence so they don't use that to land on, to steal the bike. So they will. They will steal it if you.
And thank y'all for y'all
thank you
service.
so much for coming. I know it was putting you out having to come the day after the holiday.
I work anyways, but hey.
Thank you so much. Okay, 251H. You're up.
That's the Shaw Market.
Pardon me? They're not. Oh, I guess you didn't hear it. It was, they're not gonna come to consent right
Do you have any handouts?
We just have some boards.
Okay.
Over here, work well.
Just don't block the camera.
We won't.
Just don't block the camera.
I'm trying not to trip on it since he's up over here.
Is Water Authority here, Mr. Daya? Here?
She was here.
Okay, just want to make sure you're here. Dave, right? Oh, okay, for some reason I thought you said someone else was wanting in your place. Okay, cool.
All right. Whenever
You
you're.
may begin.
Great, thank you. I'm David Abitable with Goulston and Stores, Land Use Council, to the owner of the property, 251 H Street. Here tonight is Crystal Kern, who represents the owner of the property, and Carl Knudsen with the architects. So this is an initial presentation on a plan unit development for the building at 251 H Street, right at Cobb Park there. We actually came before you all about a year ago to do an initial presentation. Since then, there have been some adjustments made to the building, so we're actually essentially restarting the process. The new zoning regulations require, and I think it's good practice anyway, that you come and meet with the A&C before you file your plan unit developments, that you can get comments early and often. So that's why we're here today. I think we're going to give a general overview of what we're planning. We're certainly happy to receive questions. We will be back as we continue to evolve the design of the building. So I think briefly, as you all know, there's an existing headquarters building there at 251 H Street. The plan is essentially to build new expansion space for the owner of that building, where right next door on that current surface parking lot where there's an air shaft for the highway. Originally, our plan was to essentially add 2 floors to the existing office building and then build another 110-foot building next door. What we've now revised the design to do is keep the existing building as it is and build a 130-foot building at the corner of 2nd and H Street. That would be expansion space in the future. We'll do this through the plan unit development process and a related rezoning for that parcel to allow for the height and density. And we're doing it through the PUD process.
Can I interrupt you for just one moment?
Sure.
Have you guys taken care of all the legal issues that are with
Yes.
Burke Company, Wilkes Company, and whatever?
Yes, that was kind of what led to all of the back and
Okay.
forth. But we reached an agreement with them, and that's why we are now pushing the height further away from them and further towards the corner of 2nd and H Street.
Is this the APAC building?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right. So I think with that, Carl, you want to?
You want to do all, me keep going?
Yeah.
Sure. So we've got what we've got here is we've got some site photos. Just to orient everyone, we are over the 395 highway here, right on H Street. The site is immediately to the this APAC building here. The site immediately to the east is where 395 goes under our site. So we're planning on building a new Phase 2 building on that particular property that extends from our existing building over to the air shaft. The air shaft, for everyone's reference, is a tall concrete structure which rises at the corner of 2nd and H.
So that would disappear.
We also have some existing conditions that we're dealing with on the ground floor in terms of our existing building, in terms of access and parking. We're tying into a new ground floor adjacent to that building, which would have a new lobby, a new entry off of H Street, and parking. And those two would work seamlessly there. This is just our existing site plan, so people understand we have our existing buildings here, and we have an existing parking.
I'm sorry, could you lift
structure.
that up? I can't see it.
Sure. We have an existing, our existing buildings here, H Street right here, Massachusetts right here. We've got a parking lot right here currently, and that's the site that we're going to develop. The air shaft is located there. 2nd Street is along the right side of the street right there. So I think that sort of covers where we are so far in the process.
And
Are
I
you
guess
going to be doing underground parking?
There's,
highway.
There is no underground because we have a highway right under that lot.
What are you gonna do about parking?
So the ground floor of the building, here, I can just run with the one I've talked to, will kind of continue to have parking back behind the lobby. So we'll essentially be continuing to provide the same amount of parking that's currently on the site now, more or less, within the building. So there'll be essentially ground floor parking underneath the building, and then the building will rise above that. You can't go any further because you're in the
I
highway.
understand, I just wondered what you were gonna do, because,
Well, I think I mentioned last time that about 60% of our staff actually live in the district. And so we have high usage of the metro, the bicycles, the buses. And so we don't have as large of a need for parking. So we will keep the existing parking that we currently have.
And I
But we
think,
encourage them to use public transportation.
but that's fine, I just wondered if there was gonna be any changes that we would have to get used to in the neighborhood.
right, no, and I think as part of the plan unit development process, certainly Department of Transportation and the zoning commission will also want us to address exactly how are people gonna get here and what are we gonna do to ensure that people are able to get to the site and encourage them to come other than by driving. And I think we didn't touch on it, essentially the idea is you come in off of Third,
Yes.
so that's where traffic would come in off of Third, people would park, loading would do the same thing, and then come out on Second Street. So essentially what we're creating almost is kind of an alley condition within the site, so that you don't have people coming in and off of the H Street itself, which is already pretty backed up as it is. We're still working on the design of the building, so we don't actually have the big pretty pictures yet. As I said, this is early, but we wanted to make sure that we came and at least started the conversation.
And you are going to be using your site to store all your construction materials? You are not planning on taking Cobb's Park or requesting it for
No.
storage of your construction?
Not at this time, no.
Not at any time.
No, we are
Well,
just
Park
as
then.
anxious to see Cobb Park revitalized as you are.
Okay.
Our staff are hoping that Cobb Park will come back alive.
I mean, it's gonna be a few years still, but we
Yeah.
just wanna make sure nobody else is
No,
uh,
No.
thinking that it makes a great storage spot.
no.
We're certainly not.
Yeah.
And if we were, not anymore.
There you go.
So that's what we have. I know it's an initial presentation, but we're happy to answer questions now. Otherwise, I think once we've advanced the design, we'll be back again.
Do any commissioners have questions at this point? Alex?
So what's the current parking situation? How many spaces are there?
There's about, off the top of my head, I'm thinking there's about 40 spaces in the building itself and the outside lot, so all of those would remain.
And you're gonna add how many additional employees?
Well, we're gonna have space to basically double our staff. But again, we have high usage of staff who actually live in the district, and so they use it as a means of commuting rather than driving.
Is your parking lot full now?
Yes, it is.
It is full.
Though I think often parking tends to fill, when you have the supply, it'll
Yeah.
fill, and once it's that much more constrained, people will come up with other ways.
So that is troublesome, because obviously we're looking at this not just for your immediate use, but in terms of the long-term use. Let's say you sell the building, another tenant, another company buys it, they have a different profile of what their employees' transportation patterns are. And all of a sudden, we could have a significant number of employees looking for parking that isn't there. So understand that is a concern that we will want to see you address.
Yeah, I think we can certainly do that as we go through the process. I think we'll look at measures that perhaps could be part of the order that ensure that certain provisions are put in place to protect you from those impacts.
I'm
Well-
sure you already do Metro passes and other
Yes,
things,
yes.
but if you, when you come back the next time, could kind of elaborate a little bit about how you're going to, what you're going to do in lieu of parking.
Okay. Yeah, and I will say that, our organization is over 60 years old, and we're hoping this is our permanent home. And we're in a unique situation because under the building is the mechanical room for that airship that never really has been operational, but there's still a mechanical room underneath And then underneath where the lot is the 395 tunnel, so there's no place to go down for parking.
And the parking lot behind the building does not belong to you, right?
Right,
not.
that's someone else.
Where's that parking lot again? I'm sorry.
Second Street,
Oh, and this one here, yeah, right,
you're
this
talking
one
about
here.
the Second Street parking deck?
I'm looking at the parking right behind the building on the right and left side.
Yes, well, there is a parking deck on Second Street that's owned by the Bush Company. And then behind our building is a temporary parking lot that MQW put in place until they break ground on their building.
And by the way, that parking, there's an RFP out,
Just about this.
so, for that parking structure thing for the third time.
For the air rights, right.
That's right.
Yeah, so I wouldn't count on it for parking for very
We
long.
weren't.
I don't see a lot of people parking there anymore.
Every time I turn around, there's an RFP out on it, it never goes anywhere, so we'll see,
Yeah.
we'll see.
Third time's the charm.
You think? Any questions, commissioners? Any questions?
Now, there's not enough parking in DC as it is, and I can't see how this development can develop and acquire the public parking for low income. What are they gonna do for low income? Is this development gonna offer something for low income parking or for low income people? What are they gonna do?
This is
Because I
a
don't see it
business,
happening.
no, well, this is a business, not residential. It's an
Oh,
office.
no, but
building.
actually, I can speak to that.
It's an office building, but even though it's an office building, under the office building, you're gonna acquire some businesses at it, right?
You're not required to have retail, are you?
No, we won't have
No,
retail,
No
but,
retail space.
but one
This
of
is all
the,
private.
right, but one of the requirements of the plan unit development process is when you get commercial office density through the PUD process, you make a payment into the Housing Production Trust Fund, and it's basically the amount of density you get, so we haven't done that calculation yet. But essentially, we put into we'll put in a rather significant contribution into the city's affordable housing fund for the construction of new affordable housing. So that will come as a direct result of this project.
Okay, and that's written.
Yes.
Yes.
And we'll address it in the PUD.
It will be included in everything that goes to the city.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We look forward to seeing you next go round.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. DC Water has asked for some time with us, especially concerning an issue that's going to be happening at Rhode Island Avenue.
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Hadia Jordan. I'm here with DC Water for the DC Clean Rivers Project, specifically the Northeast Boundary Tunnel. Right here, before I go into the presentation, letting you know we have copies of the presentation here, and we have a sign-in sheet right here. This is for us to send you information about the project, so it will come directly from us. If you give your mailing address, your email address, we'll be able to reach out to you and give you updates on the project. So tonight, I'm here to talk about the Northeast Boundary Tunnel. So basically, that is a part of the DC Clean Rivers Project, which is designed to address combined sewer overflow and mitigate flooding in certain neighborhoods, LeDroit Park, Bloomingdale, Mount Olivet Road, reduce the flooding in that area. It will reduce combined sewer overflow by 96% into the Anacostia River, Potomac River, and Rock Creek. Now, combined sewer overflow is when the pipes are designed to hold both the sewer line and the storm line in certain parts of DC. And when we have a big storm event, it reaches capacity, and what we've had so far is some flooding in those neighborhoods. And also, it gets released into the rivers that I just mentioned. And so this project is designed to reduce those impacts on both those issues. We will be finished this project in 2023. So there are two phases. Well, first of all, as I mentioned before, it's to reduce the flooding that occurred in big amounts in 2024. 2012, excuse me. There were 4 big storm events in that summer that caused flooding in Bloomingdale, under the Rhode Island Metro Station, and in LaJoy Park. And so as a result of that, the mayor formed a task force to look at ways to solve these problems. And so they did a report, and that report came up with short-term, medium-term, and long-term recommendations. And so one recommendation you might be familiar with is the building of the First Street Tunnel. And so when the northeast boundary tunnel is completed, that First Street Tunnel will connect to that northeast boundary tunnel. And that will help to address the problems. The benefit, as I mentioned, is to reduce impacts to our rivers in the DC area, to reduce the flooding, and also because of that, to address some of the risks to human health caused by that flooding. So to do that, there will be some on-the-ground construction when we get to that phase of the project. That will be to build support facilities called diversion facilities that will connect to the existing sewer, and those chambers and drop shafts and such and tunnels will connect to the northeast boundary tunnel. So it's to divert the water, the flows from the existing sewer to the tunnel. And the tunnel is designed to to work during storm events. So when it's a normal day like this, it wouldn't be operational. But once we have a big storm event and we need to address that larger flow of sewage and stormwater, then the tunnel will be in use. And that will connect to the Blue Plains facility where they treat the water before it's released into the Potomac River. So the tunnel will begin this tunnel, the northeast boundary tunnel, will begin at the Anacostia River. And it will be about 5